Hello world, I'm What If Study, and today we are finishing off the series of What If Class 1A Was Isakai. This would be part 9, I think. But we continue our story with a bit of a background check. Background knowledge. Once the school was bombed by a mysterious villain. All of the students and the teacher, including Endeavor, were all sent to Isekai. Deku being sent straight to the mother tree, and Endeavor being, resent all the way to Island, and Todoroki being sent there with his father. Todoroki getting up from this, very confused, as his father sets in motion a plan. After all, he sees all of these levels around him. But that doesn't mean anything for a sneak attack. Once his father soon figures out about XP gaining, his father even comes after him. Soon he leaves Island. He soon would leave Island, not because of that, but because he knows the reason why his father went after him. His father had the title of Demon Lord in his land, after he had killed almost 10 people out of the gates. Since he sees this as nothing more than a game, a virtual world created by what Todoroki had told him. Todoroki, hiding from his shame, and also hiding from Endeavor, looks at his stat points, as he had told his father that he had seen the hero as one of his titles. His father soon struck out against him, and that's why he was leaving. He went to the academy looking for some place to stay, some place to reconvene his thoughts. However, once he was challenged to a battle, he unlocked a skill. Once he had unlocked his first level, Purification Blade of the 7 Realms. One strike from a vertical strike from his blade could clear out a field of half a mile of radius in front of him. Basically, wherever he strikes his sword is just insta-death to anything that is, of undead origins or is considered an evil setting or evil thing. This damage increases basically however bad the enemy is. So Todoroki, he kind of just uses this on literally everybody. After all, the meaning of evil is different in this world. Evil is what's within, and many of the kids of this academy were corrupted, not innocent people. This was the academy of Island, not controlled by Endeavor just yet. However, once he got bored of finishing all of his stuff, he didn't do good in his academy. After all, he hated studying. He didn't care for any of it. Sure, he had natural talent. However, he just lazed back and used his new skills. And plus, what tipped him over the edge was when he was forced into a fist fight, no longer able to use his skills. After all, one of the bullies challenged him to it. Right as he punches one of the bullies, the bully doesn't get up. He just sits there, mindlessly, looking around. Todoroki soon finds out that this is a power that was another thing from it. Purifying touch of the 9 realms. Basically, whenever he touches something, he can take away all of its... basically a set amount of IQ, but it basically is all if their IQ is at the right level. However, he doesn't want to take all of their IQ away. After all, he doesn't want to be seen as the villain. So Todoroki just leaves the academy fully and just goes on the road as an adventurer, basically just destroying what's ever in front of him, becoming basically the solo warrior that everybody talks about. He soon gets rich, buying a gold set of gear, and doesn't come to any of the meetups that the Class 1A calls. After all, why would he care about them anymore? He has enough power by himself. Next is the Demon Lord. As then, around this time, he was called to the battle of the peninsula, Golden Island Peninsula. So when he went there, he found Class 1A in his way. He thought he should just show them exactly the extent of his power, how powerful he is, what power he has been given, exactly to all of them. So he butts in front of him, saying that, I'll go forward first, show all of you idiots how it's really done. As he goes into the battlefield, instantly striking down using his purification blade of the 7 realms. However, then all that he sees is a lone figure, a black mist fall onto the ground, lightly. Something actually withstood that blast. Incredible. But purification of fist purification of 9 realms is sure to take him out, as he dashes forward and touches him on touches whatever it was on the shoulder with his left hand, and says, "You really thought you could survive." We shift now to Deku as he looks over to see this guy as he sees that it's Todoroki. Though he dashes back instantly as he feels something wrong. He looks down to see his IQ level draining farther and farther down, going from 300 down to 200 to 150. What the hell? He's then chased down by Todoroki with slashes of plenty, vertical slashes, horizontal slashes, but nothing too complicated. But these are enough to get Deku off balance. However, nothing too difficult. Todoroki, however, with his massive power, is just overpowering Deku at this point, cutting him off at every single edge and forcing him on the decline, forcing him down a hill that he had the crater that he had made. As Deku brings up some dust in his hand and throws it into Todoroki's eyes, he says, "Ugh, you villain!" as he swipes around randomly and uses all his full power. As he's like, How are you still like conscious? I took away all of your IQ. You must have more than 300 to survive, to actually have any IQ left." As he swings wildly, causing shockwaves all across the battlefield, causing Deku to almost fly off of his feet. Deku says, "You want to know my real IQ? Before you took it away?" "Sure, devil!" As he says, 325. He says, "Lies!" Classics. From a demon. As you know, Todoroki just looks down to him saying, "This is where you die," as he clears all the dust out of his eyes and swipes vertically, causing a huge purification blade swipe. Deku, well, shocked at this. I mean, he uses this power 2 times. Does he have infinite uses of it? It must consume massive amounts of mana. However, in the middle of, seeing this horizontal blade come at him, he then gets something interrupting his mind. Notice, all IQ points have been converted into stat points. Choose as you will, at your own discretion. Oh, freaking Christ. Nice to see you again, grumbly voice. Stat points, though. As, his message pops up as time begins to slow down suddenly. All he sees is his stats, his IQ, and also his skills. And all he sees is petrifying fear as one of the legendary glitched out, skills that he can gain. So Deku, he clicks on to how much he can have for strength. And we'll just shift over to the perspective from, Todoroki at this point. He slashes down with the horizontal and vertical strike, purification blade of the seven realms. He shouts this out as it just blows up everything in front of him, destroying everything from quarter of a mile, in a circular fashion in front of him. Everything is destroyed, even more than before. He was holding back. They even took out the level 50 liches that were at the back of the army, were even encompassed by it. And that guy, he was definitely evil. Nothing can survive that. Unless you're Cthulhu, of course. The dust starts to settle as all he sees is this black person, this black mass start to walk towards him, about 50 feet away. But it's walking slowly. Is it the same guy? No way! No way he could survive that. It's simply impossible. However, finally his face is revealed. Deku's face had been replaced by blood markings that shaped the face of a smiley. His body starts to grow, bolster up as his arms start to just explode with tentacles. He starts to gain muscles in his back as he exponentially grows up into the sky, even becoming Cthulhu. As his tentacles rain along the ground around him, he slowly backs up with his sword shivering inside of his hands. As Deku says, "You have no idea how to really operate that blade, do you? You haven't even tried once in your life. It's all been handed down to you." As Deku raises one of his hands, which causes massive amounts of air pulsate throughout the world, he puts his hand up. A ball of pure demonic energy forms inside of it. As he releases it down, as he says, "This will cleanse half the earth and you. Goodbye, hero. You were never good enough." As Todoroki looks up to this horrifying figure and backs up slowly. He drops his sword to the ground as he says, I'm not the hero. I never was." As he falls down to his knees, sitting there with his legs tucked behind him like a scared little puppy. Him shivering and looking down to his arms as the world he knows crumbles in front of him. His eyes glaze over as he loses most of what he knows. He's staring at the ground, unknowingly being perceived. Deku standing behind him with his hands at his shoulders. Deku did have the blood cover making his eyes look like that. However, tentacles that were going into Todoroki's ears, connecting into his brain. Deku looks down to Todoroki, feeling so sad for what Todoroki has become, and looking into his petrifying fear dream. Deku's slots had all been put into major illusion and also petrifying fear, and maybe some left over. As he looks up to see all of the Class 1A that had gone across the lake and are now standing in front of him. Classic Bakugo gets up in front and summons the dragon, and it's just like, "You won't get away, villain." Classic Bakugo, and then is just chopped at the back of the neck with one of the tentacles, just being like, "Nah." That was summoned by the sorcerer girl. And she's just like, "Sorry, I don't really... Are these the friends that you promised to bring me?" He says, "Yes, these are the ones." As she goes up to each of them saying, "Goody! Please, I welcome you." As she puts Ida's hand to her chest. He's like, please, miss, I am the messenger knight. She's like, I must not get married yet. She's like, huh? Deku's like, oh my god, of course, that's Ida. All of the rest of them are like, what the hell are you? And what happened to Todoroki? If that is Todoroki. Oh, don't worry about him. The sorcerer girl goes over to Todoroki, and as he says, put him to sleep. I need to introduce myself to my classmates. As they all, start walking towards him. And then all he hears is, you son of a bitch! As Todoroki wakes up again, before Deku is able to introduce himself to the rest of his classroom. Todoroki grabs onto the sorcerer girl's neck and holds up his blade to her neck, as he has blood stain on the left of his face, as his perfect golden armor had been scuffed and destroyed from just the insanity that he had seen reflects in sort of his personal body. As Deku looks up to see him being like, You think this is gonna go well for you, kid? As Deku's just getting annoyed at this point. Todoroki, you're just so sad. Who the hell are you? Who could show me that? You would have to be at least level 80. No, 100 to show something as evil as that. Becoming Cthulhu. To do something like that, I know what you need to do. Don't lie to me. Whoever you are, you need to actually be as strong as, and before he can finish his sentence, Deku, picks up a rock, kind of feeling the weight of it while he was talking, and then, says, ooh, Raka, could you, cast some gravity canceling on this? She puts gravity canceling on it as he raised up the spot, looking straight towards his stomach, and then as sound bursts around his arm had come as his arm was strengthened by tentacles, which burst straight through both the girl and him through Todoroki. Making this massive hole inside of Todoroki, one that spans to about the size of his torso. As he just falls down to the ground, lifeless. I didn't want to kill you, Todoroki. To be honest, I thought we could be best friends. As he kneels down with his lanky legs, knees spanning out to the sides. He picks up the girl as she's like, you could have really hurt me there if I didn't turn to my invincible form, where literally everything and anything will go through me. He says, I know. I'm just lucky you're so smart. She's like, no, you. She says, well, can I at least have them as friends now? It's sad we lost one. She looks down, very sad at Todoroki's death. No, I think we're good. After all, those stat points. He looks up to see the menu. Nah, never mind. It can wait. And as he looks up to the rest of his classmates all getting in battle positions, ready to kill Deku, as they're all like, okay, this is not going to go well for any of us. They all ready up, and then All Might walks out in front of them saying, wait. Do not worry, class. He is a friend of mine. Deku says, oh, really, All Might? Stepping in like you should. Thank you so much. You really are the class top 1 hero, as he says. You can thank me later, Deku. Please, explain yourself. I figured it out quite a long time ago. However, your classmates are still quite, confused. As he, he's like, oh, where do I start? Well, first, let's build up a campfire. After all, it's getting quite dark. All Might's like, it shouldn't be. It's almost 6 o'clock. As then he looks up to see that it already getting to dusk. that's weird. But Deku's like, nah, we should start a fire anyways. So they start up a fire, and Deku tells his tales to the rest of his classroom. But but before that, he said he wants to give everybody a massive hug as he extends out all of his both two tentacles to hug everybody in a circle. As you know, he keeps this out actually as like a body pillow kind of for them to rest their heads on. After all, it feels it feels like a beanbag basically, and everybody starts sitting on those as Deku kind of cuts off the circulation from those and continues his conversations. They're all bewildered, just absolutely shocked at his tales of how exactly he got into this. As some of them are like, so just how did you force yourself to get through all of it? Deku says, I don't know. Maybe it was a blessing from the mother tree. Maybe it was just my personal pride to keep on going. But either way, it's nice to just be here, finally. I had missed you guys so much. So like, aw, that's nice. As they all share this by the fire. Before the night can strike, and everybody's together once more, Deku takes a walk on the beach, sitting up on one of the massive, spires of rocks. The girl behind him, the sorcerer, and Ochako. She had followed the sorcerer out to where Deku had been sitting. As Deku takes a look at his stats, his evolution to Cthulhu level was complete. This world is now his oyster. Anything that he does from now on, he can change the time of day. He can change landforms just by walking among them. He should realistically be thanking, Todoroki. He didn't even need to do much else, but sit around and just enjoy his life now. Thank you so much for watching. This is the end of What If Deku had, what if Class 1A, realistically, had gone into an isekai. I've just loved the journey of this, and I hope that you all did too, because it really means a lot to me to finish out one of my best series like this. Out with a bang, I guess. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. About Cthulhu form or anything, I'm happy to answer all of it. But until then, I'll see you guys. Goodbye.